Now we all know I love throwing my 2 pence in when it comes to talking about and sometimes critiquing race drivers. However, as some of you do, it is fair to say, Aiden, stop critiquing them. You couldn't drive an F1 car, which I mean is a fair point. I couldn't, but like I'm sure many of us would agree, I'd bloody love to. And I've been dreaming of doing so ever since I was a young kid. However, due to the fact my dad's not a rich Canadian or a billionaire pension salesman, my dream never became a reality. Now, some of you may already be aware, I did have a short-lived race career back in the day, racing in my early teens from age 10 to 16. So today, I'm going to take you guys on a journey with me through my entire racing career, which should hopefully give you some insight into, what I used to do, and I guess, well, explain why I'm stood here talking rubbish about F1 and, not actually racing in it. So let's not waste any more time and get on with it, shall we?
Yes, that is a nice ring.
Now, my racing story begins in 2002. When I was just 1 year old. Now, my dad is and always has been obsessed with cars, both working on them and driving them. And in that year, he decided to stop skirting around the back roads of Cornwall and instead skirt around a racetrack. Yet, since we did live in Cornwall, there isn't any, proper racetracks about. And even if there were, we ain't got that sort of money, lads. Circuit racing costs bare peas, honestly. So, short over racing was the only option for my dad. And just like that, my dad began racing at a small dirt track called Cornwall Raceways. Almost weekly, really. The whole family would come and watch, and it was awesome. I was there as a kid, like 2, 3 years old, watching him race round. And it turns out, right, my dad is pretty bloody rapid. Over the years, my dad would win, well, pretty much everything there was to win. And my granddad even raced for a couple of years. Not quite as successfully, but he enjoyed himself nonetheless. But then as time went on and the years passed, my dad then progressed from dirt oval racing to tarmac oval racing, entering the hot rod formula at Westworld Raceway, where again, he would win a lot. Before that track closed down and he then moved to racing at United Downs Raceway, which is the track right near my house, which is at threat of being closed down right now. I did a video about it a while ago. I'll link it somewhere on screen now. Go and watch that at some point. It would be greatly appreciated. We gotta save this track, lads. It's got a lot of history. But once more at United Downs, my dad would win some more championships and racing the stock rod formula all around the UK. These are some of his race cars. Very, very sexy mobiles, I'm not gonna lie. And yeah, he did this till finally last year he made the jump into circuit racing finally in the Clio 182 Championship. But he only did a few races because, Corona and stuff like that. So yeah, that's a very basic overview of my dad's racing career. I skipped a lot of the details because, it's meant to be about mine. But if you guys do want to know a bit more about my dad and his racing career in general, let me know and I'll see what I can do because he was a lot more successful than me, not to spoil it. In fact, if we come over here to the corner of my room where, you just have all your random stuff. Right here, we have my very first phone I ever had, which is like a Motorola. It's basically a brick. But attached to it, right down here, this little dangly thing, there's a little keyring thing with my dad's race car on. Look at that. Basically what I'm saying is, I used to stan my dad. But anyway, back to me though. This is my channel, not Simon's. But the reason for mentioning all this is because I ended up spending my entire childhood growing up watching my dad race and win. And to me, he sort of became my hero. I wanted to be just like him and race cars. And finally on Christmas Day 2010, just 7 days before my own 10th birthday, that dream would become a reality. As a waiting 9-year-old me in the garage was the best Christmas/early birthday present ever. My first race car. Look at this little whip, look, my Vauxhall Nova, beep beep lads. Didn't have a horn in it, I don't know why I said beep beep. And just a few months later, it was time for me to make my own racing debut at the very same track that my dad made his. Cornwall Raceways. I genuinely can't believe this was 10 years ago already. Jesus Christ, I'm old. I was racing in the junior odds category with kids aged 10 to 16, and we had 3 races per meeting. I'm not quite sure how many meetings we had that year, but generally speaking, that season was very successful for me, as I took 18 wins. Don't ask how many cars were out there with me, because as you can probably tell by the fact I got 18 victories, there wasn't too many. But still, I beat people, I took the championship, we move. And it doesn't matter anyway, because that year was more of just, a warm-up year for the real thing, which would start when I'm 11 years old. Since when I turned 11, I became old enough to race on the tarmac like my dad, in the mini stocks. Now I can stand here and try and explain to you what mini stocks are, but luckily for me, I already did that age 15. So here's me 5 years ago explaining a little bit more about the mini stocks formula that I raced in.
Firstly, the formula I'm in, all the drivers are from age 11 to 16, and we all drive classic minis. However, they're slightly modified, so they have bars on the outside, no windows. Here's a photo. During the race, you'll race for top 3 positions, which will receive trophies and points, just like top 10, obviously, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In the points, pretty basic, just like any other racing formula. Race around oval tracks, which are really fun. They can vary from size from very small ones to absolutely massive ones. But yeah, that's basically the general overall look. Oh, and I forgot to mention, they're full contact. But when I say full contact, minus flat out putting them in the fence. However, that does happen occasionally. It's actually happened to me. There's also lots of other incidents that can happen, including rollovers, also happen to me, and just spins, big piles up, happen to everyone. The number of cars on the track at once can vary depending on where you're racing. For example, down here in the southwest, there's less drivers than if I went further up the country. In comparison, on Sunday, I raced down here with about 20 odd drivers. Then, On the Monday, I went up to a championship in Hendersford, and there was about 43 drivers on the track at once. This made some absolutely epic racing and a lot of fun, and basically a lot of carnage.
Thanks for that, Aiden. Very helpful, lad. I like your trim. See, lads, this ain't my first rodeo. I've been making videos for way too long. So yeah, anyway, I started off in 2012 with my first testing day, where I had to basically do a little bit of a driving test and get my license, as well as do a few practice laps after that. And to be fair, lads, I'm not gonna lie to you. Given the fact I was brand new to the formula, I was bloody rapid on that test day, even lapping the two other cars I was practicing with that day, who had both gone to later become the points champion, national champion, you know, Cornish champion. Things were basically looking very good going into my first meeting for me. However, in the first corner of the first lap of the first ever race I was in, I had a crash. A fairly big one. I mean, I was fine. I wasn't hurt. You know, you got the safety equipment on. But basically, from that day forward, I became a little bit of a pussy. I don't know what it was, lads. It must have shook me up or something, because from that day onwards, I never had the pace that I had on that practice day. Or at least not for a while, anyway. Something in here I want to show you, though, is these, which are some of my old roofing. So that's one of my dad's. That's two of mine. This one I had on my first Mini. It was way too big. It gave very much like New York taxi vibes, but then we went to this one for the second car. Like I said, that's one of my dad's ones. Originally, his number was 51, not 151, because it looks like Si, and his name is Simon. But as I started racing on tarmac, 51 was already taken, so it was 151 for him. And then when I started racing, the cars had to start with a number 9, so 951 was the logical option. Also, while I'm here, this is his car. He used to do stock rods in for a little bit. It hasn't been touched in a while, as you can see. And this right here is the current state of the circuit car. As you can tell, it's not looking lovely. Since after that crash, you know, I love to milk in all my videos. It's looking a little bit worse away. He hasn't really got around to rebuilding it properly yet, so we just got a few new panels on. That's why it's looking so, you know, dire right now. But don't worry, it will get fixed, and we will do more track days, and I will film them. I finished my debut season in 12th place in the championship, with 66 points and a best finish of 2 seconds and 2 thirds. Which, to be fair, considering it was my first season and the other things I just mentioned, wasn't too bad. I mean, I was competing against 12, 13, 14, 15-year-olds. It's respectable. But look, I know I've been waffling quite a lot to this point, so I'm going to try and go through the next few years a little bit quicker for you lot. 2013, I improved on my 2012 performance, finishing 10th overall with 97 points, picking up my first win in the mini stocks that year. Look at my little face, as well as 1 second place. I also started racing at other tracks around the country at that point, across the southwest, as well as Birmingham, Hendersford, up to Scotland in the end. I didn't go to all these tracks in 2013, but you know, I got to all of them over the course of my career, and it's just easier to mention it all in one go. 2014 was more of the same, 10th overall in the points, racking up 116 this year. Yeah, I did go winless with just 1 second place and 1 third place to my name. In fact, over this season, I was struggling quite a bit. I wasn't making much progress. The car wasn't really loving life either. And it even got renamed Thomas the Tank Engine because it started smoking so much. And also due to this, I played up to this and dressed my car up as Thomas the Tank Engine, and I, of course, was the fat controller. So here's the image of it. I'll let it just sit for a little bit, get it ingrained in your brains. You can have a little laugh at it. Yeah, boys and girls, this was me in my prime. Now, of course, like all big-time race drivers, I had to have my own merch. Well, merch might be a bit of a stretch, but, you know, clothing with me and my brand on it. So I have a few examples for you here. It's only 3 of them, don't panic. But we'll start off, you know, with a plain and simple, a nice little beanie. It's got my name on it, the car on it, the number on it, you know, a nice little addition to wear around the racetrack. Next up, we got ourselves the jumper. I got this when I was 11, so, I mean, it's quite small, but we're going to try and put it on anyway. I'm sure it's going to fit absolutely perfectly. Yeah, it's a little bit tight, but, you know, fashion. Leveling up from this now, though, we have another jumper, but this one is a lot more keen. Look at that. Now, we didn't actually pay to get this one made. It was given to us as a secret Santa thing from another mini stocks driver, who may have been a girl that I had a massive crush on, who then broke my heart, but you know, it's fine. She ended up going Nottingham Trent University, so you know, lucky escape. And there we are. Look at that. Where's the hat gone? I need the hat as well. But yeah, there you go. There's some of the merch that I had as a race car driver. If you want to buy some, don't. I'm starting to sweat now though, so back to the video. However though, moving into 2015, things really didn't get better. The car was really struggling now, and the mix of poor reliability and, well, you know, mediocre driving meant that come the middle of the season, I'd really slipped down the points order. This was my, I guess, rock bottom. You know, think Pierre Gasly summer 2019. That was me. And so it was time that we retired Thomas and built a brand new car. Introducing Becky. Named that because at the time I was obsessed with saying, "Oh my god, Becky." Honestly, the fact that I didn't end up liking men is shocking. And so with a fresh new whip and a brand new engine, Team Vincent were hoping for a redemption story going into these last few meetings, and that is exactly what we got.
All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough.
Oh yeah, yes, I ended the season with 5 wins to my name, as well as 1 second and 1 third place. And despite only having 82 points and finishing 11th in the standings in the end, it was still a great end to what was a shocking year. Now, another thing I thought I'd show you for my final year of racing is this thing here. It's a grid board. You know, the things that the grid girls would hold with like the number on. Yeah, that's basically the thing we had. We didn't have this often. I only had this once in my racing career for the Kia Minna Memorial final thing. It's quite sick. I mean, it's a cool thing to have. It's a little grid board thing I can keep, but the only issue is it's got the wrong number on it. I was 951, not 915. So, you know, it's the thought that counts, lads, right? And heading into 2016, hopes were high that we could keep this performance up. As since I was turning 16 at the end of that year, this would be my final season in mini stocks. And well, racing it all, it turns out. And personally, throughout that year, I finally felt like I pulled my finger out a bit. I stopped being so scared and just started enjoying the fact that I was getting to do what I love, racing. We travelled all over the country that year trying to make the most of this final season. And I mean, it was quite sad, really. My whole life up to that point revolved around racing. All my friends I met through racing, all of our family friends met through racing. It was genuinely the only thing that got me off of the Xbox at home. But as all good things must do, it did eventually come to an end. I finished the year in a career best 7th place with 134 points, 1 win, 1 second and 2 thirds to my name. Now, if we continue our journey of looking for relics of my racing career, back here in this dodgy shed, you will see my old bonnet off my race car. Sorry for the awful lighting in here, lads, but there it is. That was the bonnet off my second race car. The Cornish Arms sponsoring it. It's a local pub to me. Got the Rattler snake on there. If you don't know what Rattler is, definitely go try it. But yeah, that's the only real bit of my car we have left. And just like that, my mini stock career was over. With a grand total of 7 wins, 6 second places and 6 thirds. It wasn't that bad of a career, but it definitely could have been much, much better. I didn't win any championships. However, in my last year, I did win the Reg Thomas Memorial Shield trophy. So my name is in the Hall of Fame somewhere, you know. It's engraved in the trophy, albeit it is spelt wrong, but we'll forget about that. But yeah, I guess that is it, lads. My entire racing career. To conclude, the reason I'm not an F1 driver is due to a number of things. Mainly a lack of money, sponsorship, a geographically central location within the UK, and I guess most of all, talent. I'm just not quite talented enough for F1, lads. I'm not gonna lie to you. Yet all this being said, I'd still happily destroy any F1 YouTuber in a go-karting race. But yeah, I guess that does bring us to today. As far as my racing career goes right now, as I said, it's pretty much come to an end. Apart from the occasional, you know, indoor karting race. I did the BIKC this year, got to the regional finals, missed out on the national final by 1 position. But yeah, other than that and the occasional track day with my dad, which I mean, always goes well for me. I mean, I've never been in the gravel at Silverstone or anything like that. My racing career has come to a bit of an end. Although if anyone from a race team is watching this video and wants to give me a shot, whether it be a go-kart or bloody Caterham or I don't know, whatever it is, I'm down. Honestly, I want to race so bad at the minute. Maybe if we get enough views and subscribers, we can eventually afford to race again. So that's to look forward to for the future. But as of today, that's it from me. I hope you have enjoyed it and, you know, learned a bit more about me and my time at racing. Like I said earlier, if you want to know a bit more about my dad's career, let me know. I'll see what I can do. But for now, I've been Aiden, this MrAidenRule. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great rest of your day. And yeah, goodbye.
Ooh, nah, nah. Hello, 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 yeah.